Hey YouTube family, it's your girl Leah, back again with another video. In today's video, as you can see from the title, is another foundation review Friday. And today's foundation, as you also saw from the title, is the Laura Mercier. And I say foundation, but technically it is a tinted moisturizer. Now, if you're not familiar with my foundation review series, or in this case, tinted moisturizer review series, this is how they happen. I don't come on here with my first impressions of the foundation. I come on here after trying the foundation out for a while. I give it a good run with different primers, with different applicators and all that to come up with what works best with the foundation. And then I type up all my notes that I've come up with for the foundation over the last week of trying it, and I bring that information to you in this video. Now, I list every single foundation that I've tried in this series down below, what shade I am, so you have a frame of reference, so you understand what skin tone and what undertone works really well with my skin. Also, I have very dry skin, so everything I always say comes from a dry skin perspective. So having said that, let's just jump right into my review of this tinted moisturizer. Now, it's summertime right now as I'm filming this, and this summer has been a scorcher, and I have not wanted to wear heavy foundation, so I've been on the hunt for the best tinted moisturizer. I've tried NARS before in the past, so you guys know. I recently picked up Maybelline Dream BB Fresh, as well as the Smashbox BB Cream. So I have been on the hunt, trust me. I did not want to go through this summer using a full coverage foundation. Now, what the site says online about the Laura Mercier foundation, it says it is Laura's award-winning demi-matte multitasker for healthy, no makeup look. Lightweight formula helps control oil breakthrough and adds a soft hint of color that evens and enhances skin without hiding it. Used in the place of foundation for an effortless, natural complexion. Stay true to color, wears all day. I'll get to that. You guys know I have my opinions on these foundations. It also says that it is sheer coverage. It is demi-matte finish. It has SPF 20, and it is ideal for normal to oily skin type. So it says in there that it is for oily to normal. That's because this is the oil-free version. They also have a version in the white tube that is not oil-free. So I am in the shade tan in this. Now, there are only 15 shades of this foundation. I am tan, so meaning there are only 2 shades darker than my shade. So it goes caramel, tan, and then 2 shades after this. Tan is described as being for medium to dark skin tone. I think because they think it's sheer coverage and it can blend out a little bit and work well for different skin tones, they don't need to make a large range, but they do. They do need to add at least 6 shades darker than mine just to have a broad selection. But that's just my opinion. I could rag on every brand. Let's not get into the rant. Now, this is $45, the non-oil free version. So the other version of this is also $45. For the $45, you do get 1.7 fluid ounces, which is more than typical foundations. Typically, you get 1 fluid ounce. This is a little bit more. And for it to be a little bit more, a lot of it goes a long way. With this, you're not trying to pile it on. If you are trying to pile it on, you're using the wrong foundation. This is supposed to be a sheer coverage. This is not meant to be full coverage. You do not need to build this up. But before I get into all that, let me go ahead and apply this foundation. Now, I have been very dry this summer, so I've been using the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer Water as my primer. And I also have been going in with my Too Faced Hangover, because when I say I've been dry this summer, it has been extremely dry this summer. Now, I've realized over the last week that I really love the application with the Beauty Blender, so that's what I'm going to use today. This is what tan looks like on the back of my hand. I really debated online if I was tan or caramel. You should have seen me at the computer. I was just sitting there like, what am I? Do not make a mistake. And finally, for one of the few times, I actually got the right shade online. And if you can see, I was so happy I got the right shade. If you can see, it is blending effortlessly in with my skin. So if you guys can see, I have just applied it, and this is what it looks like. Very, very sheer coverage. Almost looks like I am wearing nothing, which is my preference. I am not somebody who loves a fuller coverage. If I do, it's only when I'm filming, but I love a sheer coverage for day to day. That's why I have so many tinted moisturizers. That's why I have so many BB cream. Because if you saw my skin before, I don't have a lot of hyperpigmentation. I don't have a lot of blemishes. I don't have a lot that I need to cover up, so I don't really require all that full coverage. Now, if you do have those things, if you do have spots, if you do have things that you're really trying to cover up, this may not work for you. If you guys are probably noticing, it may not even look totally different or completely different than it did right before. It's really just a soft wash of color, which I really do like. Now, I'm not going to harp on it too long. I just want to show you right now. I'm going to go apply the rest of my makeup, come back, show you how it looks, and then come back at the end of the day and share with you guys my final thoughts. So just keep watching. Now I'm back after applying the rest of my face. This is what this looks like paired with the rest of my products. Now, I've tried this foundation or tinted moisturizer out for the last 2 weeks, not just in the last week, but I've had so much going on with the move. Of course, you guys can see I'm in a new location, as well as family reunions and all that. It's just been a busy few weeks for me, so I've tried this every day that I went to work, but I haven't had time to do a review video in the last 2 weeks. Now, this is the first day I've paired it with my filming makeup. By filming makeup, I mean I've contoured to the eyes, I bronzed, I highlighted. When I go to work daily, I don't do a lot like this, so it's the first time I got to see how it interacted with other products. The thing I will say about it though is in the morning I'm in a rush. I'm beauty blending, I'm hydrating my face. Sometimes I'll put blush on, sometimes I'll put highlighter on, but I don't do the most. I'd say it takes a little bit of time to dry. If you guys saw how natural and how radiant it looked right after putting the foundation on, if you put products right on top of that, I don't think they'll blend as well as if you wait a little bit. Now the thing is, in the morning times or if you're in a rush, you don't have time to wait. Like, okay, let me let the foundation wait and dry a little bit and then apply the rest of my products. But that's one thing I'd be mindful of, just how glowy it looks when you first apply it. It does interact well with other products. You're just gonna have to kind of wait a little bit, if that makes sense. But like I said, it does interact very well with my products. It has settled down. It's not as, you know, dewy as it looked originally. I think it's in the format that it's pretty much been the entirety of the week now. The thing about it is though, I use very hydrating primers though too. If I didn't use those, and some days I do forget to even prime my face, I've noticed the difference in it. I do think it's a little bit more drier texture. It's not as natural finish. It is more so on that demi matte finish that it promises. But for me, when I do hydrate a lot before, and even before this, I put on my Pond's dry skin cream, so I'm very hydrated and I can get a very natural finish, which I love so much. Now this again is sheer coverage. I do have a little bit built up more than I do on a day-to-day basis, again because I film, but this is still no more than a medium coverage, no more than sheer, almost teeter-tottering the line of medium. But you're not going to build this up. If you're thinking you're going to get this and you have things to cover, don't even waste your money on this, because you're going to end up using a lot of product. Now I will wear this foundation out for the rest of the day. It's about 10 a.m. right now, so I'll go ahead and continue wearing this and probably until about 5 or 6 p.m. to show you guys how it looks towards the end of the day, because in my opinion, spoiler alert, this is not an all-day wear foundation or tinted moisturizer, which isn't a bad thing, but I will share my final thoughts with you guys right now. So now your girl is back. It is the end of the day, or end of the day that I'm going to be wearing this foundation. It is about 6 p.m. I put this foundation on. I started applying it maybe around 9:30, and now it is 6 p.m. I'm sorry for how dark it is compared to how light it was earlier. Of course, it's the end of the day, and this is my first time filming a video. Literally, this is my first video that I have filmed in this new space, so I'm getting used to lighting, and I have to figure out what kind of works best. So apologize in advance for how dark it is. But this is the foundation at the end of the day. I would say still looks good, but not as great as it did at the beginning of the day. And again, I have dry skin, so you need to think about my texture. Now it's 5 o'clock, 6 p.m., but on most days I take my foundation off at 9 p.m. I know that's late. I know a lot of people do it as soon as they come home, but since I have this channel and I do want to wear it out as long as I possibly can, I do take it off. Typically put it on at like 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, probably closer to about 7:30 in the morning, truth be told, getting up in the morning and going to work, and then take it off literally right before I'm about to lay it on down. Now the thing I've noticed about this foundation, it does have, and it does crease, if you guys can see. I'm gonna get up in camera, creases around the mouth, which is strange for it to be so sheer coverage. I think maybe the level that I've used today has made it crease, because I haven't noticed these creases throughout the normal wear of this foundation, but I think I applied a little bit more than I typically do on a day-to-day basis today. So just be aware it does crease a little bit, but staying power, it does last pretty well on me because I do have drier skin. But on days when I don't prime as much, I notice that it doesn't last until that 9 p.m. spot. So it says all day wear, but I really don't think you're gonna get a truly all day wear out of this, simply because one is sheer coverage. More sheer coverage foundations typically on me don't last all day, and typically towards the end of the day I forget I have foundation on. I don't know if it's going to show up on camera, but I do have a pimple I broke out here, not because of this foundation, but because there were at least 2 to 3 days I even forgot I had foundation on. I honestly went to sleep with it on, and it was on my fault, and I noticed like, uh-oh, I have a pimple. So now I'm a little bit better about remembering that I have this foundation on. But literally since these last 2 weeks, and probably for the continuous wear of the rest of the summer, this is all I'm going to be using. using. Now, this summer I actually bought these two. I bought the BB Cream by Maybelline and Smashbox for this summer specifically. I've been had NARS all day, probably for the last 2 years of me having foundation, but I'm probably gonna stick with this going forward. I just think this is an amazing tinted moisturizer. I think you do get a lot of product with this one. I think out of all the three, you get the most product out of this. I do think it's the most expensive. I know it's the most expensive. It doesn't look cakey. You're not going to be caked face. It does pile up in some areas, but you do have to apply a lot more for it to pile up. Cons with this shade range, you're not going to find a lot out there. It's not going to have a lot of undertones. It's not going to be really made for women of color. That's something that the tinted moisturizer game quite honestly hasn't even got together. I think regular foundation, full coverage foundations are really picking up the space. I don't think that they're looking really in the tinted moisturizer game because of the coverage of it. Sheer coverage foundations, they typically don't make as many because they think that it'll sheer itself out and it'll kind of work itself into different skin types. I do find that some of these BB creams, I know I suggested this to my best friend Sasha. You guys have seen her in many videos. If you guys notice, she's not the same skin tone as me, but it worked well for her, which is weird that this is like the sisterhood of the traveling pants type foundation, that it worked well on my best friend as well as me. It's really a weird thing, but I'd say BB creams and tinted moisturizers do have a tendency, like if you're one shade darker than me, then one shade lighter than me, you may actually get away with the same shade as me. That's the weird thing about tinted moisturizers, because I think it's a lot of moisturizer and then just a little drop of the foundation in there. Another con about it, on top of the shade range, is the price of it. Very expensive, but I do like the amount that you get of this foundation. So overall, do I recommend this? Yes, I will 100%. I will use these out, but probably on the repurchase front, I'll probably buy this, and then I'll probably keep this around too. I do kind of like the Maybelline BB Cream. The BB, I haven't done a review on this yet. I'm still trying to work out how I feel about this BB cream so far. It's weird. Day by day, this BB by Smashbox really throws me off, but I love this and I really suggest it. So if you have a tinted moisturizer, though, I think I've tried a lot in the game. One that I will not try that you guys always ask me to try is the It's Cosmetics CC cream. I'm just letting you guys know right now, I probably will never try that. I'm not a huge fan of It's Cosmetics. I don't own any It's Cosmetics thing. I don't like their brand overall for what they do in diversity. They're not very inclusive in terms of what they provide out there, and they haven't even tried to really be inclusive. At least Mercier has come out with a darker translucent color, or they're at least making strides or trying. It Cosmetics, I probably won't ever try. So if you guys in the comment section try the It Cosmetics CC cream, I'm really not gonna ever probably try that. But if you have anything else you want me to try in the CC BB cream tinted moisturizer community, I am always open to try. I'm looking for the newest thing out there. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of my foundation review Fridays. Make sure you're following me on Instagram at Lia Lavon 89. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of the new background. Is it going to take some getting used to? And realize that I know I'm going to have to get this lighting situation under control. And I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye. This will not be private show. Your friends they tell you say I be nobody.